Namaste. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shal Gulhati, Shiva and Mysticism for another episode of Monday with Mahadev. Today, I'm going to do a very basic talk with you, and the talk will be who is Shiva? No doubt many of you have heard of Shiva, many of you worship him, know him as the great Mahadev, the great god of gods. But still, I thought that basically we should have one video on who is Shiva. So many of you have seen Shiva like this. This Shiva sitting in meditation with his knees folded is called the Dhyan Asta Shiva. The Shiva who is in dhyana, in meditation, and he's thinking about Godhood. And I am sure that many of you would be having an idol like this in your mandirs or in your sacred places, as these are commonly found in India. Or then I have a very interesting new kind of model. It is Shiva, of course. Shiva is never new, he is the same old Shiva, but this is a new technology which I got just a month back. This is from my friend Karan Veer of Vimanika Comics, and this I believe is the new technology in which they can print out 3D stuff and make it real like this. Or then you may be having a marble statue or a jade statue or something like that. And we are all familiar with this, either the Dhyanast Shiva or the great yogi who's holding a Trishul and things like that. But who really is Shiva? Now, to begin at the beginning, in Hinduism, we have many gods because we believe that God is present in everything. So we have many gods for many things, in many shapes, many forms. And the principal three are Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. Brahma is the god who is supposed to be the father of all gods. And if you have seen his images, you will see an old man with a beautiful white beard and three heads. Actually, there are four heads. The fourth one is at the back, which we cannot see. And he is said to have created this entire universe. Then we have Vishnuji, who is the sustainer, and he looks after the universe once it is created. And for doing this, he comes as an avatar. He descends from his heavenly abode and comes down to earth to help us all out. And therefore, we have him as Ram or Krishna or Parshuram or Vamana, Matsya, all these avatars. And then we have Mahesh, which is one of Shiva's many names. Mahesha, the great god, which is almost the same thing as Mahadeva. And we believe in Hinduism that Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the sustainer, and Shiva, Mahadev, is the destroyer. But the Shaivites have a slightly different word and different understanding of this. Shiva does not actually destroy this universe. He dissolves it back, or parts of it back, into the God energy. You see, if we get a birth out of the God energy, and this cycle has to go on, and someone has to be there to resolve it back or to dissolve it back, and that God is Shiva. So the Shaivites don't think of him as a destroyer, but they think of him as a dissolver or a regenerator. And Shiva, as we know, lives in the mountains. He's very happy with the mountains, and he is an archetypal mountain man, an archetypal forester. And the closest I think that the West can understand this is when I was a little boy, I used to read comics of Tarzan. Tarzan was the king of the jungle, and his speciality was that he was friends with all the beings that lived there. Now, Shiva, of course, is much bigger than that. He is the archetypal mountain man, the archetypal forester, and he loves all the beings who are in his forest or in his jungles or in his mountains, or because we know that actually God is omnipresent, Shiva is in love with every being of the universe. So, why is he still called the destroyer? Now, this is something to understand. It is not that God is required to destroy evil people all the time. That can happen too. And yes, there are lots of stories about Shiva destroying people who are very evil or very bad, or who have done ati, who have exceeded the limits of God's patience. But again, the Shaivite rishis understand even this destruction in a slightly different way. And they say that basically the only evil that we have is ignorance. Evil like greed or licentiousness or jealousy, or all these vices have a root, and the root is ignorance. Ignorance of our own divine nature. That ignorance makes us see the other person as different from us and makes us jealous of them, makes us hate them, makes us spite them, and things like that. But if we knew that somewhere we are all connected, yes, it is true that I have this body and you have that body, I am Shal and you are Suresh, or I am Shal and you are Jyoti, and so on. But at one point, at the point of our origin, we are all the same one divine energy, and which is called Shiv Tattva in Shaivism. So, in all his compassion, what Shiva really tries to destroy is our ignorance of our divine nature. And that is the real prayer to him. The real prayer to him is to help us to jettison this illusion we have that we are only this body, and to help us to see our own Atma, our soul, so that we realize that we are connected to everybody and everything, and then lead our lives with that new knowing. So this was a little take on who Shiva really is. Join me again next Monday, and I will be back with yet another Shiva wisdom for you. Om Namah Shivaya.